Hello and welcome to day 5 of this full stack shift application. So in our last video on day 4, we looked at how we can be able to log in. So here in our Postman here, we created these routes here. And if you haven't gone through day 4, then make sure that you have gone through day 4 because this will give you foundation of what we are doing right now. And here you can see we are using this application that is called Postman. We have created this route here that we are testing how we can register our user, and also here we have another request here that is for login our user. So right now here I was able to register this user here by giving it all these details. And here you can see I'm using this AP 1500. And the other thing is that if you go back into our DB, you can be able to see we have these two users that we have registered. So if you already had created this project in your MongoDB website, you'll be able to see that we created these two users here. But there's a problem because when we try to log in here, let me check. For example, you can see this user who has a staff ID of AP 1100, and then if you come here, this is the user. You can see the user here, up here. And the other thing that I want you to notice is that we are encrypting our password before we save on our database. That's why you can see this gibberish text here. So what I will do when we come here and try to log in, so when I try to log in here, I'm getting these wrong credentials even if the password is correct. So the problem is that here on our code we forgot to, or we used here on crypto.js.encode, and here we forgot to use capital U, of which it should be capital U, just like that. And then when you save now, you'll be able to see that it will solve the problem. So that is restart the server. Then again, when I try to log in here, now you'll be able to see that we are getting all these password, the information here, and also down here you can see the access token. So this is what you should get. But if we, for example, misspell or use the wrong password here, that's when you should see wrong credentials. So that's why you can see here wrong credentials. And that is it. So let's continue with the application today. So here I think if I test now again, yeah, now you should see now there's this information here and also access token here, and this information is which we are sending here. Down here you can see we are sending the info after successful logging in. We are sending the info here and also access token. So that is it. So let's continue. So I will be creating here in our roots user. So here I'll be creating user, and this here is where we be going to handle the logic for the user or the staffs, the way you want to call them. So here I'll just drag this down because I want to have a good space here for coding. And now the other thing is that I want to first of all do the same thing that I did with out.js. So I'm going to import. So here I'm going to say const and then express, and here I'm going to import it from express here. So import from express. And the other thing is that here I'm going to say const and then router is equals here to express and express.router. So express.router here, just like that, this one here, and also is a function just like that. And here now what you also need to do is to export this, because remember we are going to use it somewhere else. So I'm going to say module dot exports, and then we need to export our router just like that. I think that's okay. So now after this we are going also to go to our index.js, our entry file into our system, and here in our routes I'm going to add app.use and then this one here will be let me add API version 1 here, and then this one will be users or stuff, the way you want to call them, but I need to import it. So I'm going to just copy this and then paste down here, but I'll change here to be user route, just like that. And also in here I'm going to use now the user rather than now the out that we were using. So here this is the user, and now here I'm going to add now the user route, that is. So just like that, and then save it. So let's go back here, and I want to start in our user here, not here in our user. So in this user, let me cross this first of all so that we don't get confused. So here we need to have this user, let me cross this and also this. So here we need now to start handling our logic. So the first logic that I'm going to handle is to update the user. So by handling the user, so to update user, so update here. So I'm just first of all update, just like that. So this is updating. So by updating, what we'll do is that now we are going to use the router and then dot put here, and then here the first thing is route. So here I'm going to use ID because I'm going to use ID to update the user, and then here I'm going to accept request and response, because this is something that you should know by now. We work by request and response because this is also REST API, and mostly you'll be finding yourself working with request and response. So the other thing is that in here I'm going now to start of all say REST, and I will say I'll say password or an encrypted password. I'll just say an encrypted. So how can I spell it? So an encrypted password, just like that. And this one will be coming from request dot password or request dot body dot password. That means that if the user has sent the password. So after that, now here I'm going also to check if there is a password. First of all, if there is request dot body dot password, just like that. And then here I need to do several things. So because if we want to update, first of all I need to know if the password that I'm updating, so that I encrypt it first before I save it on the database. So that's why updating password is a little bit different, and that's why we are looking if the user has sent the password. So here I need to say password. Here just say password, or I can just say const password, just like that. And I'll just say this is equals to request dot body dot password, just like that. And then the other thing is that I need also to do request. So just say request dot body dot password here, and I'm going to now be able to encrypt it. So I just say this one will be able to now import the crypto.js. So I just say const crypto.js, just like that. And here, so I'm going to import it. So require this crypto.js, because this is the library that we are using to encrypt the password. So this is it. So after that, now remember we encrypted using it when we were registering the user. So I'll just say crypto.js, and then the other thing is that I need to use this algorithm called AES. So EAS here, and here now I need to use a function to encrypt, so something of the sort. So the first requirement we need is request.body dot password, or the password that we are going to encrypt, or the text that we are going to encrypt. And then the other thing is we need to also to get the secret key that we are going to use. In our case, we are using secret here, that is from process.env.secret. And this one, if you check here, you can be able to see it. You can use your own, or you can be able to use your own. So here, the other thing that you need to do now is to, first of all, to be able to use variables that are inside this .env file, we need also, first of all, to import .env. So I'll say .env, and then here I'll just import it, so require, and then this time I'm going to say .env, and then after that, now also I'll be able to say .env.config, and then after this, now I'm okay now that I have encrypted now the password. So if there is a password, first of all, make sure that you have encrypted. And also now here, this is where we are going to try and catch. If we have error, then we'll catch it. But first of all, let's try several functionality here. So I'll just say const, and then I'll say updated user, just like that. And then here, I'll just say await. Yeah, that's why now we need also to add a sync here, just like that, await. And then the other, now we need to update. So to update, I'm going to use user here. I'm going to import it from models, so you can see this user here. And now I'll use this function called find by ID, and update, find by ID and update, something of the sort. So after this, now I'm going to pass in the ID, and this ID is the one that we are getting here now. So this is request dot params. This is how we get the ID when we are passing it like this. Yeah, so the request.params.id. So, and then the other thing that we need now to require or to set now, we are going to do is now to update. So I'm going to update using this function that is called set. So set here, and also we need to now update request.body. So if there is a password, we will have encrypted it. So here we have updated now our user. That's why we are sending this request.body. And now the other thing is that here we need also to say new, and also here we just say true. This is true. So after that, now we have updated user now. And also remember that when we are updating the user, also we need to send the email. So I'll just say if, also here, if request.body.email, and here, and we have an encrypted password. So here we just say an encrypted password. Then we need to send the email. So how do we send the email? Remember, we created the function to send updated email. So I'll just say await, and then I'll call the function to send the email for update password. So here I'll just say send update. So you can see I'm supposed to get it here. So send update password, and this one will be coming from our functions here in this file folder here. So this one here, you are going to get from this one here. So I'm going back, and let me see if I get auto completion, because that is what I want. So yeah, you can see this one, send update password email here. And then after you have imported it, now we give it email password here. So I'll just give it request dot body, and then dot email, and then we should give it an encrypted password, because remember we are not sending encrypted password in the email of the user. So we are sending just an encrypted password, because if we send the encrypted password, that won't be helpful, because when the user tries to log in using encrypted password, it won't accept. So just like that. Okay, now we are sending the email. After that, now, because since we have updated the user and then we have sent the email, and the other thing that I want to show you is the logic, because remember here we cannot send the email and then update password, because if it will happen like we have an error when we are updating the user, then means that we're going to send the password into our user, but then maybe we have not updated it in our database. That's why you must first of all update in the database, so that if there is an error, then it means that this application won't run this other code. It will just jump to catch error here. So that is it. So now we need to send also the data. So to send the data here, because if you don't also send this data, it will just hang somewhere, or it will just be sending requests without ending. So I'll just say JSON, and then I'll say the update password here, because 201 here for creation, and then send the update password. Here we can just console log our, or we can just also send the error. So I'll just say request dot status or response dot status, and here I can say 500, and also I can just say something went wrong, or let me just send the error, something of the sort. So here you can see we are getting, now we have finished the functionality for updating the user. So I'll just format this code, and if you're not getting what we are doing, you can go back into the source code and be able to compare your code with this. Also, if you're getting some error or confused, so this functionality is just that we are getting an encrypted password from request.body.password, and then we are checking here if we have request.body, we are sending, or we are getting the or there is a password from the user, or the user have sent the password. First of all, we encrypt it, because we cannot save it in our database without encrypting. Actually, this code here doesn't have any function, so we just remove it. So after now encrypting it, now we have request.body.password encrypted. So, and here that's why you see when now we are going to update our user here, our password already is encrypted, and here we first of all use this unencrypted password and saved here first of all, so that we'll be able to send this unencrypted password to our user email. So here also you can see now it will be checking. It will be checking if you have request.body.email, and also if you have an encrypted password. And this is something that will avoid error, rather than just sending the email without checking if there is a request.body.email and also an encrypted password. So this one will help us also if let's say the user or the information that has been sent, it doesn't have email, and also maybe there's no password, then it means it won't send this it won't send the email here, and it will just skip to and then send the rest of the data, because remember we can be updating only just a name from the user. So I think you are getting the logic. So let me continue here. So the next one here is just to delete. I'm going to handle the functionality to delete the user. So delete here, just like that. I'm going to say router, and then here is delete, because this is function to delete. And also here I'll just be here getting the ID, or using the ID, and then remember here is the request, and then the response here. So this function here. So after now this, I'm going to use try catch. So I'm going to say try catch here, and in here I'm going to say const user, and here I'll just use the function from this user here. I'm going to say find by ID, find by ID, and rather than now to update is find by ID, user by find by ID and delete, rather than now updating. So find by ID and update and delete. And in here now we only need to send the ID. So I'll just say dot params, because this one up here I'm going to get ID using params. That's how it works. And in here now, after that, if there is a this request.params.id, it will just search for this user in our database and delete this user. So the other thing that also I need to do is to send the user, so that has been or I can just send the message. So dot status here, and I'll say 01 and then JSON, and in here I'm going to say user deleted successfully, just like that. And in here also I'm going to say res dot status and then 500 and then dot JSON, and in here I'm going to say something went wrong, something of the sort, something went wrong. And after that now this will be okay, and we would have completed this. So here actually I forgot to say await, because this is a synchronous function. So await here, and also here I'll just say async, something just like that, because this is a synchronous function. So after delete now, what else that we can handle is to get only one user. So get user, just like that. So when we are getting one user, what we'll say, what we'll do is to say get a router and then get, and then here, because already here we need to find the user, I'm going to use this route find, and then here I'll just say ID, something of the sort, and here also I'm going to get request and board and response, and here I'm going to add or to now handle this functionality. So getting user is also easy. So I'll just say try catch, yeah, try catch, and in here I'm going to first of all await, or let me first of all say const, and then I'll say user, and then I'll say await, and that means that here we need also to add async, and here await we're going to use user, and we say find by ID. By ID, these functions here comes from Mongoose. So yeah, so you need to also, you can read documentation to be able to know all these functions, or maybe when you when you follow this tutorial, you'll be able to know how to use them. So here also we need to get from requests and params, from request params at ID, just like that. And after that now what we need also, we can say const from the user. Now I'm going to first of all destructure, because here we are going to get this from user and then doc. So this is the information, or we need to get all the information here, which will be user and dot underscore doc. This is to get all these users, all the data that is from our database for this user. And then here I want to destructure, because I don't want to send the password, because that is not good practice. So I just say password and then dot others, just like that, because I'll be sending other information now. So here I'll just say yes and status, and here I'll just say 200 for success, and then I'll say JSON, and then others. I'll just be sending others now. So like that. So you can see how simple it is. And here I'm going now to say res.status, and here I'm going to use 500 as usual, and then .json, and then error, just something of the sort. So thus you can see it. So this is, we have created this functionality for getting only one user, and you can see now we have destructured information here because we want to get the password and other information, and because we cannot send the information including the password, that's why we are destructuring, and then we leave behind password, we send the other data. So now the other functionality that we need is to get all users. So when we need to get all users, so something of the sort, I'm going to say router. So let me add here, or let me come here and say router, and then .get. So here I'm going to get, and then here also I'm going to say request, and then response. Here I'm also going now to handle this. So this is also very simple. So I'll just say try catch, and here first thing that I need to do is to get users. So I'll say const users, and then I'll say await, and this one will be user dot find, only that, just like that. And here also I want to say async because this is a synchronous function, but here when you do this, it will just get all users without any order. It will just get users with no any order, but we want to get this user in from the latest user to the user who was added, like the last, or maybe the from, we want to get the user who has been added recently to the user who was added like earlier on, or the latest user to the earlier user who was added in our database. So to do that, I can use another function called sort, and in here in our sort, I'm going to get this object and say created at, just something of the sort, and here I'll just say -1. So this should not worry you. This is just to make sure that we are getting users from the latest one to the who was added, like the first one in our database, so that we be able to display them very well in our application. So this created at, that's why we were adding here in our models, we were adding these timestamps, because these timestamps, when we are saving in our database, if you check here, we are going to add this created at and updated at. So because now we need to sort, we are using this created at here. So other thing is that, let's go back here. So after we get all these users, we need to say res.status, and then 200, and then .json, and in here now we can send the users, something of the sort. After that, now here also I'm going to say res.status and 500, and then .json, and then error. Here I'm going to send all the error, the full error. So now what else, what other functionality do we need? So we need to also let's handle another one. So in this case, I'm going to handle for resetting the password. So I'll just say reset when you are resetting the password, and here I'm going to add reset and then password, and here also I'm going to say reset, or router, that is router, and then let's say post, and then this one will be reset, just like that. And also I'm going to say async, just like that. I'm going to say request.response, and also I'm going to add this, So this one will be for resetting password, because in our application we'll be having a functionality to reset password. So here I'm going to add try catch, something of the sort, and in here I'm going to say const user, first of all get user, and then here I'll say await, and here I'm going to actually say now I'm going to say await, and okay, this is I've added await, and then user, and I'm going to find one, so I'm going to say find one, and in here I want to find from my email, or the email that will be sent by user. Then I'll say dot email dot body, and then email. So I'm going to look for the user with the email that the user will have sent. So that is it, something of the sort. So here I'm going to first of all be getting user, and this user I'm going to get this user using now the email that he or she will send. And if we don't have the user, here I'll just say if no user found, I'll just say return status, so return this dot status, and then here I'll say for unauthorized, so for one, and then here I'll say dot json, and then it will say user is not registered, something of the sort. And now that is it. Now we need also to send the email first of all. So I'll just say await, and then remember we have the email for sending the reset email, or how to reset the email. So I'll just say send reset. Okay, let me check. So send let me check here that function. So you can see this here for reset password. So send reset password email. So I'm going to send this. So we send reset password email, and in here you can see we don't need anything from that function, because we are just sending the link to just update or to just be reset the password. So here now after this I'm going to also send the user, so res.status, and then here I'm going to say 200, and then .json, and I'm going to say here check your password, check your email, just like that, check your email for reset password link, something of the sort. So after this now I'm going to come here and now say res.status, and then here is 500, and then .json, and then I'm going to send the error, just like that. So this is to send the email. So after now the user have sent the email, because they need to send when they want to reset the password, the first thing that they need to do is to make sure that they have provided the email, because they cannot forget the email. So they send the email. So this one, when they send the email, now we are going to find the user or to check up our database if we have the user with that email, and then it will send it will come here and send this email here. So this email will contain a link that will reset the password. I'll be showing you how that works, so when we'll be testing this backend. So here also I'm going to now get the function to update now, or to reset the password. So first thing that we need to do is we just say router, and then I'll just say post, and in here I need to now update password. So update password, and also this is just like let's say also reset. So I'll just say request and then response. So I want to make this application secure. That's why you can see we have so many steps when we are resetting and updating the password. So here the first thing that I need to say, try catch here. So here I'm going to say const, and then I'll say user, and here I'll just say user dot find and find one, and here also I'm going to check staff ID. So I'll just say staff ID from request dot body dot staff ID dot staff ID, something of the sort. This is functionality that I didn't show you how it will work, or I didn't demonstrate how this functionality for resetting the password, but we'll be doing it when we are already testing our backend, and when we are completing this project. So user, and then you can see how I'm able to now also get the staff ID here. So the path to reset our password. So first of all, I'm going to first of all send this email. This email will be having a link to reset the password. So when the user click that link, he will be navigated to somewhere that he can also input staff ID, and after inputted staff ID, yeah, we are going to first of all check if this staff ID is in our database, and if we don't have this user, I'm going to also respond. I'm going to say user, and then if we have no user, I'm going to say return. So I'm going to copy this one here because it's a similar thing. So copy, and then here I'm going to paste this. So if we don't have the, okay, let me move this. So if we don't have the user, then it means that we are going to send this information, user is not registered. And also here, let me now continue. Now I'll just say const, and here I want to now encrypt our password. So I'll just say, let me say password, password, or maybe I'm going to add password here, and say now crypto, the yes, and then I'm going to encrypt. So I'm going to say EES, and then dot encrypt, and then in here, remember we need to now get the, or I'm going to first thing first, because we have the user, I'm going to get the password from the user. So now the new password, and also I'm going to now get to use the secret to encrypt our password, because remember we are going to save new password, but also it should be encrypted. So dot secret, so dot secret here, and after this now I'm going to actually now be able to I'm going now to say dot to string. Okay, here I must say dot to string, just like that. And this reminds me, I didn't do this dot to string up here. So let's go back into add here in our update password here, where we were encrypting also. So let's see, here we were encrypting, and here I say dot to string here, that function. So let's go back down here. So after now this, we have encrypted the password now. So now I'm going to update the password, the user, so, or the staff. So const update user, something of the sort, and then here I'm going to say await, and then I'll say user dot find by id, find by id and update. So this function, so remember this function here, it requires two things. I'm going to now get the id, so the id here will be from our user, so this id. So first of all, because here you can see the error, I'm going to add here async, because it's a synchronous function. So here also we can get now from the user here, you can be able to get the user ID. And the other thing that we also need to do now is to update. So which information am I going to update? I'm going to update now the password. So I'm going to use this set here, and I'm going also to update password, only password. So I'm going to get this field, and then I'll just say now the password, I'm going to now give it the password, and this password is after it have been encrypted. So after this, now I'm going also to now send the email. So send update password email. So after this, now I'm going to be able to give it user dot email, and the other thing that I need to give it is request dot body and then dot password, something of the sort, just like that, as simple as that. So after this, now I'm going now to send that or to send the message dot status 200.json, and then here we can say check your email for a new password, and also we'll be able to redirect now the user to be able to log in. So after that, now here I can say s.status here, and then I'll say 500, and I'll say JSON, and also here I'm going to send the error, something of the sort, and then that is it. So that is it. I want to first of all format that. So I think this one, update user here, let me see, update user, I'm not using this variable, so I'm just going to remove this here because I'm not going to use it. So here I think this logic is clear for resetting. I know here some people may be confused, but what we are doing is that when our user want to reset the password, we are going to hit this route, so reset, and here we are going to send the email. So the user should send the email. So after the user have sent the email, we are going to check that email in our database. So if that email is in our database, so if that email is in our database, then we'll just be able to first of all check if the user is in our database. If he is not in our database, then we are going to send this message, user is not registered. And if we have gotten the user here, we are going to send this email, send reset password here, and this send reset password here is an email, and we are not requiring to send any data here. So after that, now we are going to tell our user to check their email for reset password link, and then when now they click on that link that they will find in the email, I'm going to redirect them to somewhere that they can be able also to now add or to reset the password. And by resetting the password, because I want our application also to be very secure, I'm going to ask them to provide staff ID, and after now in this we hit this route here for updating the password. They will be sending the staff ID, and this staff ID will be checking also again in our database, and if we don't have this user, they will be sent a message saying user is not registered. And after that, now if we find this user with that staff ID, we are going to say now the password, or we are going to encrypt our password here first of all. And after we have encrypted our password, now we are going to update that user using user, because now you can see we can get user ID from this user here. So we get the ID because we need to find by ID and update. So first of all we have ID, and then we can now update our password using this set password, and then we set using this password again. Or else, to make sure that you don't get confused, you can say encrypted password here. So encrypted password, and here also I'll say encrypted password, just like that. So remove this here. So we now update the user using encrypted password. So that is it. And then after that, now I'm going to now send the email, now this email for updated password here. So it's kind of look the similar with updating the user up there. So here you can see we are sending user email, and then request.body.password, the password that has not been encrypted. And then after that, I'm going to send the email or the message, check your email for a new password. And then I'm going to redirect the user to go back into now the page for logging in using now the new email, the new password, that is, sorry. So that is it. So that is the functionality. So here I can just format our code like that, and I think now this video can be day 4. So I don't want to get it to be long than this. So remember to subscribe, like, and also make sure that you have turned on the notification bell. So have a great day. Let me see you in the next day or video.